I've been waiting for a while, but it should be here any minute now. But while we wait, I wanted to share a little story with you about the day that I became a professional photographer. And by professional, I don't mean that I have the skills or even that I make the money. By professional, I mean that photography is my profession, is what I do. You'd think, at least that's what I thought, that I became a professional photographer the day I quit my day job. But that was not the case. It actually happened a few months later. It's been a few years now, but it feels like it was yesterday. I still remember that day. I was talking to someone about this move of mine, about becoming a photographer, about quitting my job, and they were quite struggling to understand this whole photography thing as a job. They asked me, okay, so this is your job now, this is a real job according to you, so do you work 8 hours every day? I was outraged. How dare they? I mean, creativity doesn't work that way. Come here. Do you remember that I broke this camera and I sent it for repair? Do you remember it took more than a month, but I finally got it back? Do you remember how happy I was and what I said about it? It's fixed and everything is working as it should. Turns out that not everything is working just fine. Everything seemed to be fine the first day, but after that it feels like every day there is a new problem with this camera. As of right now, it turns on and off by itself, the front dial barely works, and a couple other problems, so I have to send it back. It's gonna take a while. It took them 3 days just to send me the shipping label, so I'm not expecting to see this camera anytime soon, and that kind of sucks. Anyway, going back to that question, are you working 8 hours every day? It took me a while, but I finally realized why that question was keeping me awake at night. I mean, it wasn't, but you know what I mean. I had gotten criticism, not about my images, not about my photography, but about my process, my workflow, the way I was working. I realized that I was focusing only on the results, and that was a big mistake. You see, photography is a little bit like a relationship. When you meet someone, everything is new and exciting, and it feels like you finally found the one. The same thing happens, or at least it happened to me, when I picked up a camera. Everything was fun and play. But time is a hammer, man, and it gives things perspective. Having a 2-week, 2-month, or even 2-year relationship is different from being with someone for, say, 10 years. Taking photos during your vacation to Florida or a few sunsets here and there is not the same as being a professional photographer. When I quit my job, I didn't change my mindset towards photography. I was still in that honeymoon phase where everything was fun. I was chasing the exciting moment only. But I was neglecting the foundation of the relationship. Let me use another example, firefighters. Their job is to extinguish fires, right? But they don't do it 8 hours a day. They don't do it every day. They don't expect to go to work on a Tuesday morning and extinguish fires the whole day. What are they doing with the rest of their time? Just waiting? Because that's what I was doing with my photography back then, just waiting. So you can imagine firefighters do much more than just waiting for the next fire to happen. They work hard preparing for it. They train, they practice, they get in shape, they take care of their gear, and they learn so they can grow. I was missing all of this. I was a full-time casual photographer, and it was about time to become a professional. Today my whole life revolves around photography. This is something that I work on every day. It's something that I try to cultivate every day. Of course, that doesn't mean that I'm going on photography trips every day, nothing farther from the truth. But there are plenty of things that I do every day that make me a better photographer. I try to be in good shape and stay as healthy as possible. A few years ago, when I was just a casual photographer, I was in a terrible shape and I wasn't able to go on long hikes, or I just didn't have the energy to pay attention and look for images for that long. Also, the healthier you are, the longer you live, and the longer you live, the more images you can make. I write and read photography every day. I study other photographers' work and I just try to be more knowledgeable when it comes to this art. Of course, I always carry a camera with me, not necessarily because I expect to make an image every time I go out. That rarely happens. But because just having a camera on me makes me more aware of my surroundings, makes me pay more attention. I'm always looking for an image. This is how I train, this is my practice, and I do it every day. So when I do go on a photography trip, this is something that comes more natural to me, easier, because it's something that I do every day, and it's not something that I have to remember how to do because the last time I did it was months ago. And of course, being a professional photographer made me realize that I have to embrace everything about photography, the good and the bad, the fun and the boring. Photography doesn't often look like this, but there is a lot of work and a lot of preparation behind every single image. Yes, there is some luck involved, but one generates their own luck. Just wanted to share this little story about that little piece of feedback that made me think twice about how I was approaching photography and what I would need to change in order to become a professional photographer, in order to make photography my profession, the craft that I'm gonna dedicate my life to. I hope this video was useful. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.